Welcome to the show, Comic Fam. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm great.
How are you feeling today?
I am tired.
What was your favorite part of your day today?
Oh, the hours and hours that I've spent with you today, Tom.
Because we're here to make a show for the comic book community. Hit the subscribe button. We talk a lot about comic book themed content, and we got a packed one. A fun show. I'm excited. We're going to get into some celebrities that were almost cast to play superheroes.
That's going to be fun. We also figured out the secret to making $1 million by drawing comics.
Ooh.
So if you want to know the secret to making $1 million by drawing comics, you should stay tuned.
Yeah, we have the answers. It's in this show here today. But we're also going to be discussing the Joker and the sequel that was not supposed to be. Or is it?
Or is not happening.
I don't know.
Both of those.
But really the heart of the show, and I'm excited to get to it, is key appearances in comic books that you may not know. And I'm talking about advertisements. Yeah, we're going to ruffle some feathers today. But let's jump into the first story, because the first thing that I want to discuss is something that has come up a couple times in the last few years. But it's coming up more and more right now because Fantastic Four is upon us.
Right, now that Marvel has the Fantastic Four, the 20th Century Fox deal that happened earlier this year, I should say, the Fantastic Four are now an option.
That's right.
And, they're pretty much guaranteed a sure thing at some point in the future.
Okay, we've been hearing about Fantastic Four happening. I mean, Emergency Awesome talks about Fantastic Four and, the next phases of the MCU all the time. What I find interesting is that when there's a picture to put up of, like, the Fantastic Four, if, like, Mr. Fantastic is, being discussed, and there's some type of, like, image that could be put on the screen, who is it that they put there?
You know who they don't use?
Who?
The two different cinematic versions of Fantastic Four that they've already had.
That's true. Yeah, you're not going to see Chris Evans or anything like that.
No,
you're going to see a couple other people.
We've got John Krasinski and Emily Blunt.
Like 100% of the time.
Right.
I feel like they've gotten the role, and they haven't even gotten the role yet.
It kind of reminds me of how before they picked Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, it was just kind of widely assumed by everybody that that's obviously the guy who needs to play Doctor Strange. And It just kind of happened because the stars aligned.
So we hope that the stars do align with this, but this kind of set us off on this path here to find other celebrities that have in the past almost gotten roles, because as it turns out, both John Krasinski and Emily Blunt have almost been casted as Marvel superheroes.
Yeah, they both came actually really close.
Really
to playing
close.
Two of the main Avengers.
So we got a bunch of them to discuss right now. And let's start them off with this list. Who was John Krasinski almost casted as? And I don't even mean like almost. He had a suit that was tailored to his body.
Yeah, they were up at the costume part of the of the casting process. So it's like they
on
don't start
screen.
you with that. Yeah. So he made it a few rounds deep into the process.
He may have jumped over some stuff.
Right, as Captain America. He was testing for Steve Rogers. Pretty interesting. I don't know if I personally see it. I think he looks accurate enough.
I think he looks accurate. He has the personality too.
That's the part that I don't think he has.
You don't think so?
He's just too Jim. He's too much Jim Halpert for me, especially in a post-Jim world. Like, I mean, obviously he's an action hero now, so right. I just couldn't see him as Captain America. He doesn't have like that leader of men aspect.
Well, he didn't even think of himself as Captain America, because when he saw Chris Hemsworth as Thor, he realized comparing himself, and at the time, I mean, think of when this was happening. The casting of this was a while back. This is before he was bulking up for the different roles that he plays now, all these different action roles. He saw Chris and was like, oh no, this isn't for me.
Yeah, and that was like the peak of Hemsworth's early Thor appearance. He was still super ripped up in the long hair. And
this isn't Endgame Thor.
This isn't Thor Ragnarok with the short, funny Thor, fat Thor, or anything like that. This is peak buff, chiseled, ripped Thor. And yeah, that would make anybody kind of intimidated.
But Emily Blunt, this was totally new to me. Didn't know she almost got the role.
Black Widow.
I
could see it too. She kicks ass. Emily Blunt's hardcore. Like she could easily done Black Widow.
But Emily Blunt didn't get it.
Yeah, she had beaten Scarlett Johansson for the role, but then she dropped out and blamed scheduling conflict.
Yeah, this is a weird one because it's kind of hard to believe.
Right. I mean, she said that she's glad that she's not part of the part of the Avengers in the MCU because she thinks that the role wouldn't have been, important enough to the overall team. And I guess there's an argument to be made for that Black Widow is kind of not one of the main Avengers. I mean, I think they've been fixing that more and more as we've gotten closer to Endgame, and obviously she's
getting her own movie soon.
She's getting the next movie is hers. Yeah.
But Emily Blunt, no go.
Right.
All right. Here's another one that you may not know. Tom Cruise. Now, Tom Cruise as Iron Man, could you have seen that? Because this almost happened. From 2000 to the mid-2000s, before Iron Man 1 started production, we had Tom Cruise as the main pick.
Yeah, he was attached to the movie for a very long time while it was kind of being formulated and created and ironed out behind the scenes. Ironed out.
So, like, depending on how you look at it, fortunate or not, he was too busy when production actually started and he had to pass on the role.
It reminded me of how Channing Tatum has been attached to Gambit for like almost a decade now. But then, they're actors. They need to be doing other things and they can't just, keep their schedule open for, an indefinite amount of time until this movie maybe or maybe not get made.
Right.
So it makes sense. They sign up for other movies. By the time the movie rolls along, they're already booked for something else and they can't come back and do the superhero movie. So you get Robert Downey Jr. instead and everything works out better.
Sometimes you also have actors who just look at the
we
role.
Dodged a bullet, dude. No, Tom Cruise as Tony Stark would have been awful. I don't know. I couldn't see it.
I can't see it. Man. I can't see it. There's in no way would that have been good. Sometimes they miss their opportunity, but other times the actor or actress looks at the role and they're like, nah, I don't want it. Like in Leonardo DiCaprio's case.
Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't realize this was an older movie. He was one of their choices to play Robin in Batman Forever. So this was like pre-Titanic DiCaprio. So it was kind of before he blew up, but he was
blowing up though.
Yes, he was already making a splash, I think, from Gilbert Grape. And they were looking. He looked at what was being created in Batman Forever.
You think he saw anything, or he just was like, "I'm not going to be Robin"?
The way I see it is, he just walked onto the set and looked around and saw all the neon and the motorcycle race and the bat nipples.
They wanted him to be Robin.
They really wanted him to play Robin. Yeah. And he looked. I just visualized him looking around and just turning around and walking out, being like, "I'm good. I'm gonna go make this boat movie.
I'm gonna go do Basketball Diaries."
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He did Basketball Diaries. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a much better choice.
Well. And then that wasn't the only role he turned down. He was actually picked to play Spider-Man, but ended up passing on the role, and it ended up being given to Tobey Maguire, he's really good friends with.
And I remember hearing the buzz for him playing Riddler a while ago, too. I'm glad that didn't really work out either.
Ooh, we're getting into some Batman characters here pretty soon. Hold tight. But let's talk about Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, on the rise right now. I mean, he's in the biggest R-rated movie ever. We're going to get to that as well. But he wasn't always slated to play Joker. He was actually going to play somebody in the Marvel Universe.
They really wanted him for Doctor Strange, which I could have seen. I think he could have done Doctor Strange in a really cool way. Benedict Cumberbatch is almost like a Robert Downey Jr. kind of gift from above.
Right.
Like that person is just supposed to be that character. But I think Joaquin would have been really good as a Doctor Strange. He just didn't feel comfortable signing on to like the giant commitment in the contract for like 10 movies or whatever they made him sign.
That's a lot, man.
Right? I mean, how many movies has Cumberbatch even been in already? Like 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's a big commitment, and it's understandable, especially when the Joker movie was being solicited as a one-shot go at this character origin.
Yeah, that's easier to sign up for if you know it's just a one-time thing. Like, I can do that.
All right, now we're talking about Joker. You know, Joker has been a character that has been almost played by so many people. So we went through a really, really nice list, and we picked out some of our favorites and ones that actually surprised us.
Right. There's Willem Dafoe was on this list.
Yeah. Willem Dafoe. How cool would that be? That guy kind of looks like the Joker, man.
Right. I don't think he can play Green Goblin and Joker. I think one of those they're too similar to play both of them, but I think he could have done really, really good as the Joker.
So he lost out to Jack Nicholson. So you gotta, put yourself in here, the time frame, who he was going up against, because he would seem like a really good potential for that character.
Yeah.
I would think. But there's also some other people who have tried but failed to get that spot. I mean, Adrian Brody, this guy wants to be the Joker. He's practically begging. He tried twice.
Yeah, he wanted to play Joker in The Dark Knight. and also for Suicide Squad. He was trying to get Joker 2 times, like the 2 most recent times it was available.
Yeah, I really wanted it. Unlike another actor that had an opportunity to play Joker but didn't want to do it, John Lithgow.
Yeah, apparently Tim Burton wanted him to play Joker for his first movie before Jack Nicholson came on board. But John Lithgow really wasn't feeling it, so it sounds like he sent in a bad audition tape on purpose or something like that. Like he did something to sabotage his own audition, so they kind of had no choice but to not pick him.
Did you say sandwich?
Did you say sandwich?
No, I was saying that before. Not now. Now I am saying sabotage.
Sandwich?
Sandwich? Sabotage? Sabotage. Yeah, he sabotaged himself. He said that that's one of his worst acting submissions he's ever done.
I'd love to see it, though.
Yeah, me too. You know what else I would really like to see? Tim Curry doing the Joker voice. But the guy got bronchitis.
Think about it, though. We could have had a complete, like, Mark Hamill almost didn't get the role. It was for the animated series.
Right.
Tim Curry had it, but he got sick.
Like, he had that role.
Yeah.
He got sick.
So they got Mark Hamill instead, and now people say he's potentially the best Joker, like people like Russ.
That's true. Russ loves his Batman. And you know what? This next story, I was very, very surprised to hear. Never knew that this next celebrity, may he rest in peace, actually got the role of Joker, and something shady happened.
There was a bit of a behind-the-scenes battle going on during the creation of Batman, Tim Burton's Batman in 1989. They wanted Jack Nicholson for the role, so they offered the role of Joker to Jack Nicholson, but he kind of took a little while to decide. So they also offered the role to Robin Williams.
Williams accepted.
Yeah.
He thought he was going to be Joker. The dude was probably practicing.
Yeah, and then Jack Nicholson accepted because they didn't know that the offer had been made to the other actor. Neither of them knew that they were
competing.
Right. The studio went with Jack Nicholson, and Robin Williams felt so burned by that he actually refused to work for WB until they apologized to him.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, it's kind of sad, and it makes you think about all the other times that must have happened behind the scenes, like those kind of politics,
right.
the behind the scenes scheming that goes on in Hollywood.
So I didn't know about that one. I want to know from the community if there's any other ones that we may have missed. I mean, there's a lot of stories out there. I'm thinking they may have some ideas. Put them in the comment section below. It'll enter you to win a giveaway. We have 2 giveaways to announce from last week's video. Shout out to Shane Lorison. We're going to be sending you this copy of ASM 315. Great McFarlane cover, Hydra Man appearance. We're also going to be sending Burdell a copy of Show's End Number One, the Comic Tom exclusive. Ryan, tell the community about our sponsor.
Key Collector Comics?
The best app in the world.
It's a pretty good app. You should probably check it out if you want to improve your comic book hunting.
That's right. And you mean it, Ryan. You use Key Collector all the time.
I do.
I use it all the time.
I got the Lovecraft notification last week, and that's still kind of all I'm thinking about, man. I get Key Collector mainly for the notifications. That's my favorite part.
Why don't we tell the community about a recent key alert? Because this is a service that unlocks if you are using the full service. If you use code TOM101, just look for that welcome button right on the home screen. You put that code in, you get a free week subscription. Well, you're going to get key alerts, and a key alert went out this week. This is just the latest comic book information that is affecting the comic book industry. This news got me so pumped. Sin City optioned news again.
That's what I'm talking about. I just checked my phone, and that was just there waiting for me. Sin City's going to be a TV show.
Optioned by Legendary Entertainment for a TV series, and also a possible animated series. That could be dope. So there's a couple comic books here that are suggested for you to ponder. You have Sin City, A Dame to Kill For Number One. Of course.
Right.
Comic book. It's a classic. But you also have the first appearance of Sin City. A lot of people don't know what happened in a graphic novel. That graphic novel is a 5th anniversary special. No number, and I happen to be sitting in front of one right now. If you comment down below, I'll enter you to win this copy. Ryan.
Yes?
We need to talk about that book right there.
This one?
That one right there, Batman 83. Spoiler warning, but how would you summarize what happens in this issue?
Bare bones, quick summary would be that it is about Bruce Wayne coming to terms with the death of Alfred.
And it is incredibly sad.
Yes.
Right? And this is just one of those moments that I feel like is a great example, prime example of why individuals aren't very crazy about the Tom King run. What did you say?
Tom King's run on Batman has been controversial, to say the least. He's been doing all 83 of these issues released so far since the start of the DC Rebirth era in 2016. It hasn't exactly been the most popular run.
Why is that? Why would you compare? Because I think people are comparing this run to Snyder's run.
Right. It was right before it. There were some moments in Snyder's run that are legendary. The Court of Owls, in particular, I think is going to go down in history. But I don't think there's been anything so far in the Tom King run that is that powerful and epic and important in the long term. So I think people are kind of comparing it to Scott Snyder, because that's the most recent example of a Batman run we've had before this.
This is definitely more of a emotional Bruce in this run.
Right.
Snyder actually made press back in 2013 when asked about Bruce's relationship status in his comic book run. Like, they wanted to know back then when he was writing, like, is Bruce going to be dealing with any important relationship stuff in this run? And Snyder's response was, oh no, his relationship is with the city of Gotham.
He's a Gotham sexual.
Yeah, that was actually the quote, Gotham sexual.
Yes.
So the focus of Bruce is going to be fighting crime. Like, there's no time for anything else. Like, there's no time. You're going to be turning the comic book upside down. You're going to be so busy. Bruce Wayne doesn't have any time to deal with, with any like marriage stuff or date
Feelings,
stuff. But
no time.
No time. But I think that's the difference here, because I feel like Tom King recognized that and then went that route hard. And not everyone appreciates that.
If you have too much of the same stuff back to back, like if Tom King had just taken the baton and kept going in that direction with like big epic, all this, kind of end game Joker stuff that was happening, Death of the Family, all these crazy big important events that Scott Snyder was throwing at Batman. Whereas Tom King, has taken kind of a stripped down, more personal Bruce Wayne approach.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne goes on a date, in this issue.
That was one of the coolest issues of the whole run. Was
one of the best issues.
Yeah, that double date with Clark Kent and Lois Lane.
Right.
There was a lot of cool, interesting issues in the build up to the wedding in issue 50, which you can definitely say is like the linchpin, I think, of the whole run, at least so far. And
I think individuals thought, they were let down by the wedding, but I think that what was more surprising is that the wedding wasn't a focus on Bruce's proposal and Bruce getting married to Catwoman. It ended up being about Catwoman's decision to not marry Bruce, to be unhappy, to not take Batman away from Gotham. It ended up being a whole Catwoman thing. And people thought not very highly of that.
I mean, I can see it, and I can respect her decision, thinking that it's better for the city of Gotham to have Batman around.
I prefer him not married.
Yeah, apparently there was a lot of people wanting to see what Bruce Wayne's life would have been like, as a family man, and I don't.
I agree. And this issue, Batman 83, I would say 90+% of it is a letter that's being read. You don't see Bruce read the letter, but it's very touching. And the entire issue is Bruce realizing that he lost the father figure that he had.
It's like a third parent that he lost. And it's really hitting him hard. He mentions that, after losing Selina Kyle and Catwoman, then now he's lost Alfred, and he's just kind of struggling with this new status quo. And you can definitely see the struggle that Batman is going through in this issue. There's a lot of like angry, sad panels and
violent outbursts.
Yes. And I'm okay with one of these issues. I don't need to see my Batman punching people and fighting the Joker every single issue.
I'm right there with you, man. I can deal with the lack of violent conflict and fighting and detective work for just good narrative.
I think these kind of issues also work better in context. So like when this run is done, or in like a couple of months when you have a few issues after this to read, I think as part of as a trade, as a collected story, this will fit a lot better into the grand scheme. But waiting a month after something like this can feel a little depressing for some people.
I can say one thing, hearing the callbacks to the wedding, it makes me appreciate those issues a bit more. Now reading what Bruce is going through, he's dealing with mental illness. He's dealing with depression. He definitely enjoys those sad topics, But a topic that I really do enjoy myself, though, is viewer comments.
Viewer comments from Raphael. I have not read Lock and Key, but Joe Hill's Basketful of Heads is one of my favorite books this year. The dialogue in this book is the most organic dialogue I've read in a comic book. Amazing.
I agree. You've read Lock and Key.
I read the first trade. It's been a long time. I need to go back and actually commit to the whole series.
My dad really likes Lock and Key.
Your dad really does like Lock and Key. That makes me a little more inclined to read it. You know, I know him. So if I don't like Lock and Key, I'm gonna go after your dad.
There you
Pretty
go.
much how that's gonna happen.
But we're also talking about some other stuff that's kind of in that same
Hill House
theme,
area.
right? Yeah.
The Dollhouse Family. We're gonna talk about that in the after show.
That's right. Stay tuned for the after show. It's on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud, where we turn the cameras off, but we keep it going. We keep talking about comic books audio only.
All right. This next comment is from Capital J 1414.
Thanks for commenting.
Green Lantern is awesome. I want to say I picked it for other reasons, but mostly
Was that it?
Once I read that sentence.
Bias pick.
Yes. I don't even care who they pick. They're all great options. He's talking about the TV show they're going to make,
Sure.
what it's going to be based on. I doubt that they will make it Alan Scott, but there will for sure be a nod to him. I'd love to see Jon Stewart. And that's I had to kind of pick. I mean, there were a whole bunch of comments about the Green Lantern series, and I don't know. This one felt good to me. Like it's the most open. Like there's so many ways they can take that show, and that's kind of going to be the most interesting thing about it, is to see what they eventually decide to base it off of.
I was listening to Variant Comics' new podcast, Eris and Tim, talking about this and mentioning like how cool would it be. I don't think this is going to happen, but if you turn on this show and you have just the different lanterns all fighting each other in space, cosmic craziness, just like the different colors. Like we were chatting about how difficult it would be to get there.
But what if they just started
They just
off?
did it. They
Right.
just threw it on the screen.
That's risky.
It's risky, but
It
then
would
it
be
made me
nuts.
smile
It
to
would
hear
be
him talk about it. I'm like, I would like it.
It would be cool if they
Right?
if they took it like super seriously and just went for it. It'd be risky, but I'd really like to see that too. Next comment we have is from Jason Lamberth. Venom does have a theme song by Eminem.
Oh, he does have a theme song.
We were talking about Venom theme songs that don't exist,
Yeah.
but we forgot, obviously, the most important theme song of all superheroes.
I don't know, man. I kind
You
of
should have done this in the superhero theme song quiz.
Yeah, which one is this? The Venom.
I got that adrenaline.
How would you not
I
know?
don't know what hit 'em.
So bad, man. That was terrible.
Did not enjoy that song. It literally, I blocked it from my memory.
I forgot that Eminem song even existed. And if you don't know what we're talking about, it's the superhero themes. We did a quiz, and we'll put the link to it. And I was trying to stump Ryan. You got a good amount of them right.
You also got a good amount of stumpage over on me, though. I was pretty stumped for a significant portion. I think it was 50-50, I think is what I got. Exactly half.
There you go.
That's a good ratio. I don't know. This is just letters. JLPETC. Jill Pitts.
Jill Pitts. Thanks for leaving a comment, Jill Pitts.
Good to see the foreign niche getting some due attention. And so earlier I said I had to pick from a bunch of different Green Lantern comics, but the most of the comments on the last podcast that I was on here were in response to the foreign comics section that we did.
Holy smokes, dude. The foreign comics section of that podcast was lit in the comment section.
Yes, I would suggest that might be one of the more successful segments we've done in a very long time. Like the feedback we got on that was insane.
The feedback was crazy. And you know what? Matthew Roybal, he hit me up after the fact thanking me. And it was so cool to see messages in the group, which I put the group link in the bio of that video. So if you wanted to join like a foreign collectors group on Facebook and see some cool things, you can. I'm actually trying to pull up right now on eBay. There was a listing that was just so crazy that went up that I wanted to share with the community. So this right here is a Fantastic Four #1 UK version. Okay, this came out in 1962. And it's by Creepy Worlds is the name of this comic book. And it looks like just the standard Fantastic Four cover, but it's like an appearing to be oversized, a bit bigger than a piece of paper. And here's what's really cool about this thing. Aside from it being listed for $60,000, okay, because this is a foreign gem. These things you can't find, especially ones that are sought out after like issue #1. But this one doesn't just come with a certificate of authenticity. It comes with the 4 plates that were used to make the freaking comic, like the metal plates.
That they like stamped onto the paper, like, oh wow.
Yeah, like they're different color and everything.
Printing press stuff.
Yeah, it's so cool, man. So 60 grand, you can get that foreign piece of history. But it's stuff like this that just randomly comes up that gets people excited.
We can make that happen, right? Just $60,000.
We'll pull it together.
That's right. 30 from me, 30 from you. Boom.
Good to go.
It's ours. We can make our own Fantastic Four #1.
That's right. UK version.
That's right.
With the plates. Okay, time to pay some respects. We had a member of the comic book industry and community pass away this past week. And I'll be honest with the community. This is not someone who I was as familiar with. And it's one of those moments where I find myself, looking into creators a little bit more. I mean, he passed. I wish I would have known more of his work back when he was living, because he was doing conventions and things like that.
Right.
But we have Tom Lyle, the co-creator of Scarlet Spider, and Stephanie Brown passes away at 66.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those cases where you are aware of what they have done more so than who they are and what else they have done, right? Like, he's responsible for designing Scarlet Spider, like that iconic hoodie outfit.
Yeah, that was him.
Yeah.
And the spandex that he wears.
Mm-hmm.
So Lyle is known for drawing 3 Robin limited issue series alongside of Chuck Dixon. He did those runs. We all know those comics, man. I mean, those are
one.
OG,
polybagged, right?
Yeah, the polybag ones,
Yep.
And he also is credited for co-creating Stephanie Brown, who is the Spoiler, who is actually the only DC character to be both Robin and Batgirl.
That's going to be something that I don't think anybody else is going to approach for quite a while. That's a very, very unique accomplishment.
He was actually a professor in recent years for the Savannah College of Art and Design.
That's kind of cool. He's not active making comics, but teaching the next generation of artists, how to be creators, and that's more important, right? That's more important than being a creator. If you're so talented to be able to inspire other people to develop a skill themselves, that's worth a lot more.
Yeah, it's the mark of a true professional. And I mean, I don't know, it's really hit me this week because this is something that happens often, and I think it happens to a lot of people. But sometimes it takes something sad like this happening to bring someone's awareness out, and it's hard to keep up with so many different people in this community. But then you find yourself going, shoot, this was someone awesome, and I missed out on my opportunity.
Yeah. That's kind of a sad, underlying element of this is it's a learning opportunity. Now we know who Tom Lyle is, unfortunately, and not until it's too late.
Right. He was survived by his wife, Sue, and there's actually a GoFundMe. We're going to put that link in the bio because there were medical costs that were pretty extravagant in the final days of his passing, unfortunately.
All right. Apparently they've met this GoFundMe, but it's still cool that it's up. And it can still be contributed to if that's something you feel inclined to do.
We'll end the section by reading what Dan Slott tweeted. I mean, he was a longtime Spider-Man writer. He said, "Sorry to hear that the legendary Spider-Man artist Tom Lyle has passed away. Tom's work on both Spidey and the Scarlet Spider were epic. The Scarlet Spider design, Tom's design, will always be an amazing touchstone for Spidey fans like me in all generations past, present, and future."
It's nice that you get one Spider-Man creator kind of eulogizing another. It's a nice little sense of community there.
Absolutely. The community is strong, and best wishes to the Lyle family. All right, the next subject of the show right here, right now, we got to talk about is the Joker.
The Joker.
Dude, I've been thinking about this movie a lot since I watched it, and you know what? I came full circle. At first, I was like, I'm on the fence. Pretty good movie. Then I was like, you know what? That was a freaking really good movie. That was a really creative movie. And the one thing that really got me excited, really, I'm going to say really like 3 more times. I really, really was really excited to know that was it.
Yes.
That's all they were going to do.
I was actually, when I first watched it, I've seen it twice now. The first time I watched it, I was hoping that it would end maybe like 5-10 minutes before it actually ended. Like,
right,
with him in the back of the police car, maybe being dead.
Right.
Like before he got up and had the crowd cheering for him and stuff. I was kind of hoping that, it would just end with him getting killed. So there's no sequel.
More questions.
Right.
Right. We want things left unanswered so that we can communicate about it. Converse.
Watchmen style.
Yeah. Let's just figure out what's going on. And then in 20 years, have a HBO rendition of what happened in the future of that world take place, something like that.
Tying it all together.
Let's tie it together. But no, not so fast, because I woke up today and what? There's going to be a Joker sequel?
Yeah, apparently. Hollywood Reporter's talking about how Joker sequel and Todd Phillips has met with people over at Warner Brothers about making apparently a whole new set of movies about other DC characters done in the same Joker kind of style.
Wait, what's going on?
He's having meetings with studio people.
What? That's okay. Up until like yesterday,
yes,
it was no one wants to touch this movie.
One shot, like one. That's it. Joker, and that's it. No sequel.
Yeah, nobody. Not the director, not the writer, not Joaquin Phoenix.
But you know, the people at the studio are looking at the record-breaking, over the bill. It's one of 4 DC movies to cross the $1 billion mark, and it by far cost the least amount of money to make. So it's the most profitable. So you know that there's people at the top of the studio just like salivating over the prospect of another Joker, another movie that's cheap and super successful like this.
Todd Phillips said to be making $100 million from this movie.
Not bad.
Not a bad pickup.
Not bad at all.
Okay, but now Hollywood Reporter saying that they're meeting Warner Brothers, that they're figuring stuff out, and that he went to Warner Brothers with a bunch of characters that he wanted to do origin stories about.
Yeah,
like more than one.
Kind of like a little miniature cinematic universe in a sense, almost.
Oh, what is happening, Ryan?
Nothing apparently is happening. That's the second twist here.
Wait a minute. Okay, so I woke up this morning, 6 a.m. This is being talked about, and then and this is done by Hollywood Reporter too. This isn't like just TV Guide or something.
Some low-key internet site that nobody knows about. Hollywood Reporter's, a pretty respectable Hollywood reporting magazine.
But then Deadline,
yes,
10 hours later, reporting that the Hollywood Reporter, you moved too fast.
Yeah, pump your brakes, like slow down. There has been no confirmation of any Todd Phillips, Warner Brothers studio people talking about anything happening. There's been nothing has changed, is basically what they're saying.
Comic Book Resources was saying this morning, post the Joker sequel announcement, that we had the same writer. Todd Phillips was going to be tied to it. Joaquin Phoenix was probably.
Yeah, it was likely going to come back.
They didn't say he would for sure come back. They said probably. So
right.
I thought that was interesting. I'm like,
that sounds like somebody had thought about it. That sounds like it's been researched, and it's a little bit more than just a conjecture about a sequel maybe happening. It sounds like there was some concrete information being put out there.
It just says that their sources gave them this information.
Right.
So we don't know yet. Maybe by the time you're watching this, Comic Fam, there'll be more information about this. But I have a feeling that there's going to be a sequel.
The way Hollywood works is almost guaranteed there's going to be a sequel. With the amount of money that this is making, it's foolish for them to not try to do it again. And I don't know. I don't think they should, because I don't think lightning can strike twice. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, because the rumors of Todd Phillips trying to bring other DC origins to this type of R-rated Elseworld style that he was able to successfully bring to $1 billion franchise.
Right.
Well, it's got people speculating. And the Hollywood Reporter put at the very bottom that, it's not likely that it's going to be, certain villains over others, but the ones that we think could be would be Darkseid and Lex Luthor.
They were thinking he would be a good fit for a Darkseid movie or a Lex Luthor movie, which makes a little more sense to me than Darkseid. But
this is like their opinion.
Yeah.
And we're seeing articles pick that up as, this right here is a possibility, like they were on the table or something.
Yeah.
But from what I can read in this report, it seems like this is just their opinion.
That's just what they would like him to do.
Or what they can conceive him doing.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind him making a Lex Luthor film. It would have to feel different than a Joker movie, because Lex Luthor is more of an alpha than Joker, who's definitely not in charge of what's happening to him.
And I don't know if you can do another villain origin story like the Joker. I don't know if you can have lightning strike twice like that. Exactly.
Yeah, they might need to try something. Maybe not do a villain. Maybe just take the weird route and do a hero origin story. Like let's see that again. They should make another movie about Spider-Man's origin. I want to know what happened to his uncle.
You want to see another Spider-Man origin?
Yeah.
Let's just do another Joker origin, completely different.
Dude.
Jared Leto again. Try it out again.
Good idea.
Right?
Bring everyone back.
What do you think, Comic Fam? Let us know in the comment section below. What do you think about this news? Do you think it's going to happen? I think it's going to happen.
I think it's almost guaranteed to happen. I just don't know if it should.
What if Joaquin doesn't want to do it? What if he says no, just like he said no to Doctor Strange?
Man, that'd be weird if they just had to recast it. That would put it. I don't know if I'd want to see it without Joaquin.
All right, so I want to look at some key comic books, kind of. I want to look at comic books that are key appearances to some collectors, but not others. It's going to be confusing,
Yes.
A little bit. Bear with us. Let's just jump right into it, okay? The first thing I want to talk about is release dates. Let's talk about the release date of Hulk 181.
Sure. November 1974.
November 1974 actually had other comic books released along that same month. There were 3 other comic books that I want to bring up to the community that are special for this reason, because they came out in November of 1974. The first one is Thor 229.
Also, Iron Fist number 19.
And then, of course, you have Daredevil issue 115. All 3 of these issues have an ad for Hulk 181 in the comic book. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about advertisements for key comic books and whether or not those advertisements make the comic that they're in a key book.
I guess it depends on your definition of key.
Right? A lot of things could be listed as a key appearance. And to be honest, I default to the collector. It's to the collector's opinion if a book is a key appearance, because it's what makes them special. I mean, there are thousands upon thousands and thousands of comic books. And yeah, sometimes there is a first appearance, but we also argue about first appearances all the time. So choosing which is a key and which is not, it's really up to the collector. And these books right here are actually key books, but if you look online, you're only going to see them being sold for the most part because of either grade or because of that promo that's in there that's listing that advertisement for the first appearance of Wolverine.
I can see that. If you're a really, really big fan of Wolverine, it's kind of almost more interesting. Like the obvious choice is Hulk 181.
Or 180 or something.
Right?
Like that.
Yeah, something the clear obvious choice, but a kind of cooler piece of trivia almost is to say, like, actually, you know, this is like the advertisement for that issue. Technically, this is the first appearance of that comic. It's kind of a cool idea.
And these key appearances are largely cheaper, typically, than the first full appearance that the community has deemed worthy. And it got me thinking, advertisements and other promotional items that cause these, what we like to call real first appearances on the show. I want to move on and talk about some other promo items, if you don't mind.
Like sea monkeys?
Like sea monkeys. No, actually, I'm not talking about sea monkeys. I'm talking about actual monkeys you can buy. No, actually, I'm not even talking about that, because those are things that advertisements that are in some comic books.
All right.
No, not talking about buying monkeys. I'm talking about your ability to buy an up-and-coming comic book in a month called Booster Gold number 1.
So obviously you're talking about the DC releases promo from February 1986.
Of course.
The first appearance of Booster Gold. It's official. It is his first appearance in printed form. Came out a month before the actual comic book that he was out in.
It's like a flyer.
Counts.
I
think that counts.
You know what's interesting is that it counts, and on eBay, you can find this. There's very few of them available. This is something a lot of people don't know. It even says free on the top right-hand corner. This was an advertisement given to stores to just give to consumers who largely threw them away.
Who takes care of that stuff?
You know, the ones that survive, they get listed for over $150. That's more money than like a low-grade full run of Booster Gold.
They gave it out for free.
And they gave it out for free. Now, that's a promo flyer. Let's talk about some other promotional items that have some key appearances. Maybe Booster Gold doesn't do it for you. Let's talk about Venom. Okay. We've discussed the first appearance of Venom and the controversy here. Or at least
thinking about the song again?
Venom.
I'm thinking about the song again.
It always comes back to Eminem, dude.
For like the next week, anytime I hear Venom, it's going to be the song. They ain't gonna know what hit 'em. That's unfortunate.
All right, ASM 300, right? First full appearance of Venom. But
of course,
he's got a full page spread in 299.
Right.
Okay.
Classic.
That's fine. You know, it's a classic appearance. It's no big deal. But let's talk about some earlier appearances of Venom. What? Earlier appearances? What? Yes, there are earlier appearances. And let's actually talk about months and dates here, because these things are important. So ASM 300 was released in May 1988. Then we have ASM 299 in April 1988. Okay, you know, it's a month before. Makes sense, right? Well, a month before that, in March 1988, you have Comic Scene issue number 2. This is a magazine, has a release date of March 1988. And this inside has previews of Spider-Man showing Venom, this new character.
This one is something special, too, because it's not just a preview that shows you what the cover is going to look like in a tiny little black and white picture down in the corner. It's got, like, Eddie Brock, like full Venom with the, the face of Eddie on there. Like the mask is off.
But the suit of Venom and everything,
Right, yeah,
the symbol and all.
It's not just a tiny little shadowy picture. It's kind of like almost like a character breakdown introduction of Venom. So it's pretty thorough.
It's thorough, and it's one that, as a real first, has been known in the community for quite some time. If you go on eBay, you're going to see, a handful of copies listed, and they're all listed above $100. I mean, they do sell for over 150, and especially those higher grade copies, because magazines are oversized. They're harder to keep, clean. And
who has magazine-sized bags and boards just laying around?
Exactly. It's kind of that Batman Damn situation, only worse because this was like a throwaway magazine, wasn't a prestige comic book.
Right.
So this is listed, in the comic book collectors community as the first like real appearance of Venom. But you can go back even further. How far back can you go? You can go back to December 1987, a full 4 months prior to that, to Amazing Heroes issue number 131. This is another advertisement within a comic publication soliciting up-and-coming comic sales, potential comics you can buy. And in this preview, a full 6 months or so prior to Spider-Man 300, you have a shot of Venom.
That's it. That's pretty clear cut, and that's so much earlier, too.
Now I want to point the community's attention to this picture of Comic Reader issue 100. This is another one of those comic promotional items. This is something that came out in 1973. And this right here, I have to give a huge thank you to Octavio, one of our writers, for finding this. This isn't the only one on this list, actually, that has been uncovered by Octavio. He's a writer on the ComicTom101.com/blog. And he actually uncovered a bunch of these. And this one right here from 1973 may be the first time we see a Marvel DC crossover. I mean, this is early as hell, but this wraparound cover doesn't just have Superman and Shazam on the front, but on the back features Batman and a very patriotic hero drawn by Jack Kirby.
Captain America, Marvel and DC right there.
So unless there is an earlier one in Comic Fam, please, any of these types of things, like really, it's a can of worms. When we start looking at these real first appearances, Ryan, what typically happens?
Someone knows something that happened earlier than that.
There's another publication.
Exactly.
Something comes out of the woodwork. I mean, we went down the Harley Quinn like cave of just endless shadows, crooks and crannies, and we kept uncovering stuff over and over again.
It's definitely a rabbit hole situation. You start and it just keeps going and going and
so
going.
If you know any of these real first appearances to have other real first appearances, let us know in the comment section below. But this one from 1973, I mean, that's early Marvel.
Like the earliest crossover between the companies I know of offhand is the one from the 80s, right? The JLA Avengers that happened in the 80s, I believe.
Right. And this is a promotional item, so this may have been licensed or unlicensed. I'm not entirely sure. I'm interested to pick up a copy to get a closer look at this thing.
Yeah, it feels less, at least less promoted than the other ones I was thinking of.
So now we have some other just kind of filler ads, comics advertise for other comics, similar to the Hulk 181 ads we discussed earlier in the show. Right here we have ads for Avengers Number One. The first one in Strange Tales issue number 112.
It'd be so cool to go back and you're just reading that comic and you see an ad for something that's so important.
Right.
Before it even became a thing. Just an ad for, some random comic that's not even, hopefully people read this Avengers comic that we're thinking of putting out soon.
Yeah, hopefully it sells well.
Yeah.
Got a guy named Jack Kirby doing the cover.
The time
Interior.
capsule aspect of comic books. That's something I love, is seeing all the old ads in there. Not only for Sea Monkeys and Hostess snack cakes, but seeing ads for upcoming comics that aren't out yet. That's pretty exciting.
Fantastic Four issue number 18, which is the first appearance of Super Skrull, also has an Avengers 1 ad as well.
Win-win.
But what's interesting here is like FF18, of course, as a key book is looked at as that, key moment for the Super Skrull appearance. But that Strange Tales 112, there really isn't much going on in that book. I mean, it's cool Silver Age, but that Avengers 1 ad, that really takes the cake for big appearances in that book.
That's the best thing about Strange Tales is the Avengers ad in that one single issue.
It's what gets put on listings a bit more than just like the standard publication information.
Yeah.
Now, we are bringing this up today because Octavio found a really cool one, and one that got me excited so much that I had to go out and purchase it because I had to see it in person. So I started out with the Hulk 180, 181 timeline. And this is important because we're going to break from this to go to a little rant because I got to do it. I got to do it because it's just confusing to me. And I think it's freaking hilarious. So Hulk 180, cameo of Wolverine, right? Hulk 181, first appearance of Wolverine.
Here we go.
Hulk 182, second, third, or second cameo full appearance.
I'm already confused.
And this isn't me, dude. This is like what's on CGC labels. Because if you look at Giant Size X-Men number 1, which came out the following year in summer 1975, on the label it says, this is Wolverine's second full appearance. Now, if we go by facts, does this character appear in the comic book at all? Like, can you see this character at all? Anything. He's in Hulk 180, he's in Hulk 181, he's in Hulk 182, and he's in Giant Size X-Men number 1, but only 2 of those count. And this is awfully close to flipping off the community, but I'm going to keep it going.
2
different appearances. What's happening?
I don't know. It seems to me like there's 4 right there. You had 4 fingers up, but only 2 of them seem to count.
Well, it's because the appearance in 180 and 182 are all but thrown away as it pertains to full versus cameo appearances. But we're talking about advertisements for a reason, and Octavio brought the heat. He found one that is gone missed by so many collectors, and I'm excited to report on it today. We have Comic Reader issue 117. Take a look at this, Ryan. And what does that say on the front?
It looks to me like it says April 1975.
July is typically what's listed as the date that Giant Size came out, even if we were to be conservative and say, hey, some stores got it 1 or even 2 months before that. This Comic Reader from 1975 has a half-page spread advertisement of Giant Size X-Men number 1.
Sure does. I saw it myself.
That's right. We have at this point, we can say the first appearance of Giant Size, which is the new team, right? Because this is predating Giant Size X-Men. But we can also look at this as the potential real first appearance of the second full appearance of Wolverine or the third unofficial first appearance of Wolverine. But it doesn't matter because really,
it doesn't matter.
If you like Logan and you like Wolverine and you like Chris Claremont and you like New X-Men, this is something that you're going to be interested in. And that's all that matters.
Indeed.
What do you think about all this, Ryan? This is crazy stuff.
This is crazy stuff.
How does it feel like this kind of stuff keeps coming out?
That's the thing about rabbit holes, man. You start digging and it just keeps going and you don't realize how far down the rabbit hole really goes.
I want to know from the community, is this crazy? Is it crazy to look at appearances in advertisements and promotional items as key appearances?
It's a little crazy, but I don't think it's not interesting. I don't think it's not relevant.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
You know, I've gone on record. We got over 400 videos on this channel. I've said it multiple times, dude. I've spent stupid money on Hellboy stuff.
Yes.
Promotional Hellboy items because I'm a Hellboy collector. And I was a purist, man. I was a diehard. I wanted not just the 9.8, I wanted the 9.9 copy. Like, I wanted to have the lowest census count for promotional, what have you. I want a raw copy. I want a signed copy. I want a yellow label copy. I wanted it all. When I was deep into it, I really wanted to have the best collection that I could be proud of, display it, and however I wanted to display it, because that changed all the time. That's what I wanted. So I look at something like this and go, you know what? Who am I to say as someone who is interested in a freaking modern character? Like, I'm interested in a modern character.
What's wrong with modern, Tom?
There's nothing wrong with it.
That's right. There's nothing wrong with modern comics.
There is nothing wrong with modern comics. But as a collector, most people just like, oh, you're talking about something modern, that's gone to me.
Yes.
Like, you're either collecting silver or gold, or I don't even want to think about it. But I can relate. I can relate to all the collectors because Hellboy's my thing, and I put those filters on, and I'm okay with it. So I want to hear what the community thinks. These promotional items, do you dig them? Because there's an awesome category on our sponsors app, Key Collector Comics. You gotta go through this category.
This category is the character preview category on Key Collector on the app. it shows you a big list of all these different characters and some comic series. It looks like it shows you not the first appearance of them in comics, but the first in advertisement appearance of them in comics, like we've just been discussing here.
And there's like over 50 of them and counting.
It's a big list.
Yeah. So one to have fun going through and see if you can find some of these on the hunt, because these largely go missed. And I can tell you, this comic reader surprised a lot of people that I showed. Like a lot of dealers don't know about this thing.
It looks cool to me because it looks like Green Lantern riding a horse, but that's...
He kind of does look like Green Lantern, doesn't he?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what, Ryan, we've talked about this company before on the mic. We've actually discussed them in length because there's been this ongoing rivalry between Terrific Productions LLC, the production company that owns the rights to Youngblood, Rob Liefeld's masterpiece. It's what we're going to all remember Rob Liefeld for. It's Youngblood.
Mm-hmm.
They own the rights to it. And Rob and them, how would you even describe their relationship right now?
Bad.
Like terrible.
Not good.
Like we've covered stories where they're just going back and forth on Twitter, and it's cringy upon cringe. And if you've read Rob's tweets, you would know that those can get pretty damn cringy.
Yeah, he's definitely not somebody I would pick a fight with on Twitter. He doesn't seem to mind counterattacking.
That's right. For hours.
We see a little more of that here, unfortunately.
But not from Rob.
No,
we're talking about Terrific Productions LLC, because they have apparently figured out how, if you want to be a comic book artist, well, a surefire way to become a millionaire.
They figured out the secrets to untold financial success.
Ryan, what's going on, man? Okay, so like, what did they do and what are they saying? Because I want to be a millionaire, but I'm not a very good artist. Do I have a shot?
That's the part what are they even offering here? Are they offering...
Well, they're looking for people to make comic books for them.
Right, for their company, for Terrific Productions.
That's right. Eventually. I mean, until we see job openings, this is more of just, sending tweets out to the ether.
Yeah, trying to find some talent, I guess.
Okay, so what is it that they're saying?
That's my, I don't know if I can call it my favorite part of this story, but the tweets themselves are something you kind of have to see for yourself.
Do you have 40 years left to live? Then you can become a millionaire.
Already, I'm already a little concerned. Like, do you have 40 years left to live? Like, I hope so.
That's a weird question to
Nobody
ask
knows
somebody.
how much time they have left to live, unless, it's that.
Well, if you're doing the math on making $1 million, you got to have a hard number. We don't want people who are going to be dying in 20 years.
That's right.
It's not going to work in the math.
No, you're not at these comic book rates that you got here that we're about to break down here. How do you get the money though? How do you get to $1 million in 40 years?
You want to know the catch, Ryan?
There's always a catch.
You have to rate a return of 6% or more, and after you save $22.73 per page, or you will fall short of $1 million 40 years later.
What?
Logical steps to become an artist millionaire. These are all tweets.
These are all real tweets.
These are all real tweets. If
you, a comic book artist, can do 2 comic books, inked pages or colored pages, then you need only save from 1 book or do both and make $2 million or $120,000 / year interest.
Need we say more?
Yeah. Like, there you go. There's your marketing pitch right there. I don't even know what I'm being pitched and I just read that just now. So
from what I can tell, Terrific Productions LLC is suggesting that if you were to save 10 to 50% or so of all your money every month for 40 years, you would have $1 million in the bank.
Sure, just don't spend any of the money that you earn.
You figured it out, Ryan.
Right?
You figured it out. The secret to becoming a millionaire:
don't buy stuff.
You just don't spend money.
That's fine. You don't need to live in a house or have lights. You can just dig a hole in the woods and eat squirrels and leaves. That's free. I mean, all you have to do is draw comics. And draw comics. You got to make sure you're drawing comics the whole time. So this is their path to success. Apparently, is they're trying to get people excited to draw comic books by giving them kind of a false expectation of what the market's like. It's actually
pretty cutthroat and very much dependent on timelines, being able to draw quickly. Not so much about how much work you can take on and at what rate you can get, because most people are not getting paid 100%.
Like the top-notch rates, you're going to save those for your top-notch artists. I imagine most people aren't top-tier artists, and they're going to get paid lesser rates than, what they're kind of promising here. But in that case, if you make less money, just save half of the money, and then you'll have $500,000 instead of $1 million.
Do you want to work for us?
You'll still be rich.
Still be rich. And you know what? Because we're talking about Youngblood, and Rob Liefeld was brought up on this.
Yep.
I also felt like it worth mentioning that he also has gone to Twitter again to announce again that he has drawn his last cover for Marvel for what will be for quite some time.
Yeah, he did a variant for, as we're recording this today, is Deadpool number 1, is their new Deadpool series. He did a variant for that, and apparently that's the last Marvel work he's going to be doing for, the foreseeable future.
Until he wants to make some more money or something.
Till Major X 2 comes out.
I'll
be there at the front of the line for that one at my local comic shop.
Yeah, but don't bring him that Spider-Man Deadpool comic or any facsimiles, because those are on his ban list.
All of my Rob Liefeld comics that I have.
I think it's funny that Todd McFarlane, his ban list are comic books that are all worth like $500, $300 books. Rob's like, that's $1? Nah, I don't want it.
No Spider-Man Deadpool for me.
Nope, that's a $3 comic book. I'm not signing that.
Salty.
Nope. All right. Dollar bin diving on the Key Collector app. This is just something I got to mention at least once a month to the community. This is it's my favorite category on the app.
It's fun.
It's my favorite.
There's a lot of gold nuggets in here.
This one was updated in the last 24 hours. I've never heard of it. It's fantastic. It's Mystic number 15. And I'm just letting the community know, as soon as I saw this, I went to eBay and I bought me a copy. I think it's like $6 is what I paid after shipping. So do you know why I bought this issue?
What's Mystic 15, Tom?
Mystic 15. Okay. This is a comic book. It's done by Cross Gen Comics. This is what the cover looks like.
Okay.
It looks like a 90s comic, right?
Yes.
Well, guess what? It's not a 90s comic. It came out in 2001. Gotcha there. But it's basically a 90s comic.
That's how that works.
But here's the thing. Written by Ron Mars. Cool. Illustrated by Brandon Peterson. But here's the fun thing. Brandon Peterson on page 3 to 4, he does this 2-page spread. And he has like a scene happening at a bar. And what's really cool about this is that this is at a time when Harry Potter was really getting popular. 2001, right? So Harry Potter, it was popping. And do you remember what J.K. Rowling at that time, what her opinion was on comic books at that time?
No, I just know that I've asked on this channel before, like, why there are no Harry Potter comics. It seems like a surefire thing that DC and Warner Brothers should be putting out.
Well, apparently back then she was very stern about not wanting to see Harry Potter comics for whatever reason. I'm not sure.
Yeah, why specifically comics?
I don't know. It's just what I found online.
There were movies coming out.
Yep. Wanted
Video
it,
games.
Probably just wanted it in her book and nothing else. But what is really cool is that in this 2-page spread, this artist decided to put Harry Potter in the scene.
In this bar?
In this bar. You see
12-year-old Harry Potter?
There's actually a bunch of characters and some characters that are licensed in there. I mean, you have Sandman that's in there, and there's a handful of others, but there is a Harry Potter head right in
just
the scene.
Magic flavored characters? Is that the theme
yes,
here?
Yes, magic flavored characters. There's like almost a Gandalf or maybe Dumbledore-ish looking character at the bar. But the dead giveaway, aside from the John Lennon glasses, is the wand he's holding, as well as the various snitch, the balls, the snitch balls. Snitch?
That's what they're called.
They're called the snitch, but there's typically only one snitch.
Right.
But they're snitch eyes. There's a bunch of them.
Yes, snitch eyes.
Snitches. Snitch eyes.
The plural of golden snitch.
But there's a bunch of golden snitch.
Snitches?
Is?
Golden snitches.
Let us know in the comment section
stitches.
if we know the plural of snitch is.
Yeah, is Thanatos out there? If you know what the plural of golden snitch is, please enlighten us.
But they're all over this panel, and it is awesome.
Flying all over that bar. That'd be kind of. I wonder what happens if you catch one. Do you get like a bunch of golden, a bunch of free alcohol? You think?
That seems like a dangerous thing to have in the bar. Just a bunch of like flying
drunk people would be jumping around trying to catch it.
Right?
I would
try to catch it.
That's right. Who knows what you get?
It's like you want to be the guy who's like, I'm not going to catch it.
I caught the snitch. I got it. Nobody cares.
No one cares.
You're just that guy at the bar.
Oh, and then we also have some giveaways. Sin City, first appearance in this graphic novel. Comment down below. We're also going to be giving away a Comic Tom exclusive of Undiscovered Country. Did you see what they're selling for?
More than the box costs.
That's right. We have exclusives that have officially broken past the cost of our subscription box. Comment down below. And this is actually going to be your few opportunities to be able to win a copy from us because we're not selling these on the internet.
No.
We're going to let the market does what it does.
It's its own beast.
Let it do what it do.
As they say. Let it do what it do.
Ryan, tell the community about Metal Shark, bro.
Metal Shark, bro. That's the exclusive we have for December.
Ryan, this is an homage to Submariner issue number 5, is it not?
Indeed. It is, sir.
And what is Metal Shark, bro, about?
Metal Shark, bro, is the tragic tale of a shark who decides to eat a Satan-worshipping badass and becomes a heavy metal human-eating shark man.
That's right.
Bro.
Metal Shark, bro. If you like stoner comedy, if you like weird comics, independent goodness, well, this is the book that you got to read. I thought this would be dope. And you know what? Tiger Shark, like I had to pick that homage. I cannot say this word for the life of me, comic fan.
It's pretty hilarious.
It's hilarious. It's because we spent so much time looking it up. Like, how do you say it? Which is right. And if you say homage, you are referencing art.
Yes.
If you say homage, you are like paying tribute.
Like a dirty peasant.
Paying tribute to the king.
Yes.
In King of Thrones or something like that.
We were going to do like a whole segment on homage or homage just because it's apparently very difficult to figure out which is which.
And we probably
knows.
have a backlog of like 400 videos of me saying it probably all different kinds of ways.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
So explain one more time. Which one is it when talking about art?
The important one that we use in this community. Homage.
Got it.
Yes.
Comic fan, we do appreciate your time. Hit the subscribe button. We talk a lot about comic books throughout the week.
And grammar.
It's
right.
all good stuff.
Brought to you by the letter R for Fire Guy Ryan.
We appreciate it. Thanks for watching our show. It's awesome. You know, you guys are the best community in the world.
Don't forget to check out the audio-only portion of the show that we're about to do right after this.
Yeah, we're going to keep it going on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. As always.
Don't forget to geek responsibly.
Enough said.